Welcome back, guys. The camera just died because it was so cold from sitting in the truck overnight. We're gonna have round number 3. I'm hoping the camera doesn't die. I put it in front of the heater for a little bit. I think we're good. It was so cold I left it in the truck last night. I didn't actually look at the temperature, but it got single digits again, I think, at least. So I'm gonna have to scream over the heater for a little bit. It's cold in here. Just starting to get to the point where you can't see my breath, so we'll turn it off in a little bit. But today we're gonna start a project that I really needed to start a while back. I also need to kind of make a little bit of a confession to you guys. So, the old Harley Davidson. Now, if you looked really close last year, you would realize that the little headlight fairing went away and the handlebar situation changed, which that I was going to change anyway, no matter what. And if you also looked really close, you'd see I got these new saddlebags, I got these little sliders, I got the slider down here. And the reason for all of that is, unfortunately, I crashed the bike at the very end of last year. So, end of 2023. It was completely, unequivocally, undeniably my fault. I will just leave it at that for insurance reasons. Alright, so as I described, we did some damage to the old Harley Davidson. So I'm going to show you a video of every little piece of the bike that we damaged. That was already there, but the fender did bend a little bit. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, is the front end twisted? I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. The whole bike's leaning sideways. I'm going to do some measuring and make sure, but we're pretty sure the front end's fine for a variety of reasons. I'm going to start right at the front. Obviously, this thing's trashed. I was actually going to pull this off anyway, so I don't even care. I damaged the gauge clusters. This sucks a lot. These are incredibly hard to find. I did find a set on eBay in very good condition. I immediately purchased them. Should be okay there. That's awesome. I'm going to save as much of these as possible and try to help the next guy out, because for all of us who like our Mickey Mouse ear gauges, these things are hard to come by. So I want to try to do what I can to get these posted back up so somebody else can use the parts. Brake line severed, whatever, no big deal. Scraped up, brake lever slightly, wrecked this cover. Everything else is okay. Wrecked the mirror, got a new mirror. Just scuffed this up a little bit. I might just pop this off, paint it black, and put it back on. There's really not too much damage on it. The fork stops on these bikes, on these trees, I mean, the Pro 1 Performance trees are just pins. They both kind of sheared off. Not sheared off, but bent in their mount. There's a giant crack in it. I can't even see it right now. Right there. Hold on. Let me get some light on this for you. See the crack? Cracked the primary. Absolutely smoked. Whoops. Absolutely smoked the derby cover with the foot peg mount. Come on. So we'll sand that down. That can be this can be repowder coated, I think. Clean up, get the peg out, clean that all up. Get that off of my powder coat guy. Already bought a new primary cover to swap meet. All the inspection cover's fine. The clutch seems to be fine. I am going to pull it apart and inspect it, only because the clutch was doing some weird. The clutch lever was like half travel after I crashed. I don't know if the cable stretched or something, so I'm going to check all that stuff out. Shift shaft is bent. Already got a new one coming. These are discontinued, so I was lucky to find one. Very thankful for that as well. The entire motor's fine, thank God, because I just built it. Smoked the battery cover. Those are cheap. I can also repaint that one. That's no big deal. This is a new used mirror my buddy gave me. I actually bought a left mirror today, so that's good. I got this bezel on the way because this thing's screwed up. The fender, I'm going to touch up and leave for now. You really, by the time you put all this stuff on here, you don't see much of these fenders. So I'm not too awfully worried about it. I'll get a new fender someday, maybe. They're kind of hard to find. Smoked the leather. Tail light. I wanted to do new taillights anyway, so I'm not too broken up about that. Did not hit my exhaust. Did, however, bend this, but I got a new one. I could probably bend that back, but I just bought a new one because it was cheap at the swap meet. This looks like a scratch, but it's actually not. It's just dirt. That was on there before the accident. The tank. Oh, guys. I wrecked my beautiful. I love this tank, and I wrecked it. It makes me so sad. I'm going to talk to some body shop guys and see if somebody can pull the dents and repaint it for me. I got to find these decals. I can't seem to find them. I hope I can I would be heartbroken if I can't redo this. So I'm going to have to try to find that. I will pay a lot of money for that freaking decal. Because I'm nuts. But anyway, this bag, smoked. Whatever. This bag was on its last legs anyway, to be honest with you. Bars are smoked. I don't know if they look it, but they're all bent up. The throttle cable's a little bit jacked up too. We'll fix that or put a new one on. Clutch lever, just cosmetically damaged. I'm honestly probably going to just sand this and touch it up. I don't really care that much. I do, but I don't. I could fix it someday. It's really not going to look that. Nobody will ever notice it. Lost every single blinker cover in the accident, which is just hilarious. But I got new ones coming. They're smoked too, so they look cool. Which reminds me, I need to get red bulb or yellow bulbs. But anyway, yeah, not too awful bad considering I took a decent spill. I was only going about 25 miles an hour, but for legal reasons, I won't say exactly what happened. Little update here. Got a new leather piece on the sissy bar. We got taller bars, taller riser really. Actually, the bars are technically shorter. They're a little bit straighter, which I like. Playing around with where I want them exactly. Waiting on the tank still. Primary cover's coming tomorrow. We'll get that on. Added sliders, front and rear. So she's coming together. Did a new Galfer brake rotor with pads. So that's good. Looks nice. Thrash and Essential saddlebags. New tail light. I actually reused the blinkers, but I smoked them. I kind of like them. I've always liked the bullet blinkers, so I'm going to leave them for now. I can always change them. I put the gauges on the riser here, or on the headlight. So, I don't know. We'll see what we think of that. And, yeah, we'll go from there. Oh, chop the levers, too, because they were scraped. Had to get a new one of these guys. Had to get new controls. So these are actually used, but they look good. So, yeah, it's coming together. Oh, new gauges, too. Today, in an effort to get this bike almost running, start off with the primary cover. We'll go from there. This is always a pain in the butt to get these on. Unless you take the cable all the way off at the handlebars, but who the heck wants to have to do that? That's annoying. This is less annoying, kind of, sort of, not really. It's more fun this way. It puts more risk that you drop your brand newly powder-coated primary cover. So, I think I showed this in the rebuild video for the motor, but we'll show you how to do a primary cover again, I guess, because why the heck not? So first things first, if you're not going to take the clutch cable off, you're going to have to spin it around the clutch cable. Make sure your adjuster is in. That's important. Otherwise, you'll put the whole thing together and realize you got to take it back off. Put the dang adjuster in. Don't ask me how I know that. Push that chain up. There we go. Should slide right on. Probably won't, because you know how things go. So I don't even know exactly what this was from. But this little flange for the manifold, or for the header, well, now it's not coming back off, but it popped off. There you go. So the exhaust had a giant leak. So Cobra, under warranty, because I really do think it was a manufacturing defect, not the accident, sent us a new pipe here. So we can bolt that back up. Get this all squared away. Still waiting on the tank, which should be here tomorrow. Other than that, we got an assembled motorcycle. did not get hurt whatsoever. So I learned a valuable lesson. Life goes on. Try not to be as stupid next time. Unfortunately, the tank was destroyed, and I could not find these graphics anywhere. Anybody to make them. I had a guy who actually designed them for me and gave me samples and then ghosted me, which was kind of strange, but I'm not going to put him on blast. It is what it is. This is a tank that my buddy found at Daytona Bike Week, and it's in okay shape. It's got some decent paint defects. I did a big touch-up somewhere over here, right there. Also, it has a dent right here. And I could get somebody to PDR this tank, I'm pretty sure, and get that dent out. And then get somebody else to paint new black on it and save these decals and then make it look brand new. So I'm gonna explore that option. I'm also still exploring getting a graphic made. If anybody knows where I can get one made, please let me know. And then we're gonna have to do something different here. I don't run the sissy bar a lot, but these bags are gonna rip if I keep doing that. However, and I'll move the bike forward in a second. So the rear fender got messed up. You can see where I just hit it with rattle can. So I kind of want to clean that up a little bit and try to repaint it. Get a little bit of Bondo in there. Just a little something to make it look better. The rest of the rear fender is in good shape. Just riding around at the end of last year, at the end of 24, I lost my battery cover again because these friggin' clips are absolute trash. And I could not find the new version of them until very recently. I found them, they do have them at the Harley dealer. So I just bought these, so we'll replace those. I had a new battery cover coming. Also, if you remember the video where my air cleaner fell off, this is still all scraped up from when that happened. So I bought a new air cleaner cover, which that's coming in the mail. I also still am running the welded bracket that I had for the repair, so I want to fix all that and make that right. I kind of cobbled this thing together for the end of the riding season, just because of the way it worked out. So I want to clean all that up. The good news is, other than needing a detail, the bike is no worse for wear. It rode great last year, so the accident didn't really hurt anything. So I just need to kind of get her dialed back in and get everything cleaned up nice and make it what it once was again. First things first, we gotta pet the dog. Hi, Jakers Bakers. Hello, hello. Fun fact about this dog, he has my name. I adopted him and he had the name Jake. So I left the name Jake. So we have the same name. Okay, so that comes off. You gotta go back, under, and then forward. I can take these right off. I never pulled those through. They're brackets. There we go. And we the Gucci. Now we just take our quick disconnect mounts. I took one of the last rides of the year with my girlfriend and I just never took this off. Alright, now we're ready to take the fender off, or strip it I should say, to be taken off. Oh my gosh, this dog is getting in my way. Again. Pull that out. We're going to pull all these little plastic covers off. We're going to pull those side reflectors off, which are covered 100% of the time anyway. And then we're going to clean this fender up and kind of see how we want to go about painting it. Probably going to do the whole thing. I'm going to fix stuff like this. I fixed this about 5 years ago. That kind of chipped off and rusted, and I just touched it up. You can't see it, but what the heck. We'll make this thing right. So yeah, I'm going to time lapse to take this off. You're going to kind of see me just taking all these side bolts off here, taking this front seat mount off and everything else. So I was able to turn the heater off. Pretty warm in here finally, which is good. Now we need to kind of get this thing ready to be painted and figure out exactly what we want to do. So we're going to start by getting these reflectors off. I got to find my plastic scrapers for that. We found this guy and I think this will work. This is pretty old tape, so I'm assuming these will come off pretty easily. Yeah, they're coming right off. They don't put like that crazy 3M trim tape on these reflectors, which is kind of nice. They just kind of put like a regular foam double-sided tape on them. I have a rubber wheel. We'll get that off later with. I just want to kind of spray detailer and clean this whole thing a little bit and see what we're working with. But first, I will probably strip the entire, strip all the components off of it first. Weird. Sometimes fenders get this like rubbery buildup on the inside. I don't really know what causes that. If you know what causes that rubbery buildup inside of a fender, let me know in the comments. First, we'll take off this big old screw. Just got to kind of get through this weird undercoating, rubberized stuff that's on here. These plates get shockingly stuck onto the fender. Wow, that one was really stuck. That freaking gasket, man. This little plastic clip out. Okay. Boom. If you do it that way, you'll never, I'm gonna say never, but you really won't screw up the paint. Even if you didn't want to repaint this, if you're just gentle like that and you stop right when it breaks through, you're totally fine. Lastly, we gotta pop this feller out. I think I can just kind of give her the wiggle with a screwdriver. Boom. Pull this gasket thingy off. We should be good to go. For this next part, you have to be very careful that your girlfriend or wife doesn't find out. What we're going to do is we're going to go in the bathtub because it's nice and warm in the house. Get yourself a drill brush or a hand brush, but I would recommend a drill brush. Throw some degreaser inside the fender, which I already did. You can kind of see it in there. Hot water, and I already prepped this water so I know it's hot. I also put the towel on here so I don't scratch the fender and so I don't mess up the bathtub. See, the reason guys don't get away with this is because they leave a mess. Don't leave the bathtub looking like this. You will get in trouble, okay? So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna turn everything on. We're actually gonna hit the shower and we're gonna give it a good rinse. Okay, don't be a freaking animal. Clean up after yourself. You're an adult, and if you're not an adult, you're training to be one. So we're gonna get in here. We're gonna rinse all this down, okay? Move it over to the sink to wash these guys, just because they're much smaller and easier to wash here. And we'll just even use regular dish soap. This is no different than washing a plate or you know, whatever you got, a cup or something. You should be able to wash your own dishes. And by that I mean you should have a dishwasher, and by that I mean you should have a girlfriend or a wife. Switch gears for a quick second here. One of the terrible things about these older Sportsters is these clips that hold the battery cover on are useless. They have a little notch that the metal of the cover goes into, and it just wears out and it barely even holds itself on. So what we're going to do is put the updated design, which is a two-piece design, and this plastic piece goes on the cover, and it clicks in like that, so it's a nice positive engagement as opposed to the current design, which is basically no engagement. So the install is super easy. Literally, you're just going to get underneath this, just kind of pry it up, push down a little. Now she's sliding on us, that's okay. Get this right out of the way. Oh no! Well, after breaking it, I got it on there. And honestly, it's still really solid, so I'm just going to leave it for now. Not thrilled about that. I really don't think taking the battery would have helped, as I was looking at it off camera, and I wound up getting it on there. But anyway, whatever. There we go. Make sure that's not going to hit any wires or anything. Yeah, it's pretty clear. There's not much back there. Okay, so I had bought this Chinesium kit a long time ago with these, and it turns out this is the same one. So I'm going to leave this for now. In worst case scenario, I can just swap out this side, because this looks slightly different on the end, but it functions the same. These little plates that go on the battery cover are identical. So we're gonna just kind of hang on to it for now. Okay, so you can see, if you look real close, where the bottom lip of this fender bent a little bit, and the whole fender is tweaked. Just a little on that side. So we're gonna kind of muscle this around. I think we can straighten this out. What we're gonna do is take this level, Not really the right tool for the job, but you can see how straight this is. This side bow is way out. Doesn't even touch because it's hitting here. So we're gonna kind of take our body working pliers and just try to reshape this lip a little bit back to where it belongs. Slowly but quickly. Okay, so just to start, we're gonna hit the lip here and just kind of see what we come up with. We're not going to go too crazy with it. I just want to kind of try to get it flat again, and we'll kind of go from there if we want to do a little Bondo or just accept the fact that the metal's a little thinner or what. Okay, so we kind of get a better picture of what we're working with here. This is going to be the hard part. I don't really know that I can fill that with Bondo super successfully and expect it to not chip off. I can sand out the scratches that are here. That's fine. I can also, what I might do, if I am careful, I can kind of like just take a little bit of height off the entire fender. You won't really notice it, but it'll eat up some of that metal. I'm gonna keep thinking about it. I also might take a hammer and try to bend that back out and smooth it out. So we're gonna see. Probably hard to tell on camera, but this is curled up from where that bent. So I think if I take a hammer and smooth that out, I can use some of that material. So we're gonna try it. You can see now that profile is much better. It really matches the rest of the steel, and I think if I sand that, it'll be a little bit thin, but I can get away without using Bondo. I'll just do a nice heavy coat of high build primer and we should be good on that edge. So we're gonna keep messing with this. Let's see how much, if any, material we really lost. We're at 047 there, 049, 052. Let's go right on the tip. 041, 053. Now this is an area I didn't really sand. I just sanded the paint a little bit. I didn't get into metal. 061. Now we're gonna finally remove the foam on here. Forgot to do that earlier. And I'm also gonna have to remove this piece somehow. I might try to buy one of these or get some 3M clear bra and make a new one, because it is kind of good. And I'm gonna put it further so that the whole seat doesn't hit in different places. So I'm gonna buy a piece of 3M clear and probably do that. But for now, let's get all this stuff off. Okay, so we've got lots of scuffing here that you could probably buff out if you really wanted to. Some scratching, various stuff. This is all scratched up. So I was kind of debating if I wanted to just like paint some of the fender or if I actually want to do all the fender or whatever. I think it's going to make the most sense to do all the fender because like this is all deep scuffed. There's rust here. So all that's going to be fully sanded down. This is all chipped up here. So it's like by the time I sand all this, try to blend into here, which mind you, I've never blended before. So I would have to be a learning experience in and of itself. Then if I wanted to clean up any of this stuff, I'm going to be blending up. This all needs to be, it's like the whole thing needs paint. So it's one of those things, you might as well just paint the whole damn fender. So that's what we're going to do. Also, I really want to fix this. It just looks crappy, even though it's under the seat. So we're going to go ahead and start sanding. Knock all this stuff down and get her in a good spot. Okay, so we got this all pre-sanded. I need to get some some primer on it and some high build primer on it. But yeah, we got all the rust off. Everything's pretty level and smooth. We've got the inside all prepped. I'm going to shoot this with bed liner. I just want it to be nice and tough. Doesn't need to look super pretty. The bed liner will easily cover up any of these angle grinder scratches too. But we got all the rust and stuff off. And then this lip, by the time we were all said and done, is pretty darn good shape. This guy pretty well cleaned up. This is the bracket that goes underneath the fender. It was real rusty actually, so we cleaned that up pretty nice. Great, now we just scratch the fender. However, it will then be ready to have the outside painted, but I want to do that inside first because I don't want to get bed liner overspray on the fresh top coat paint. I'd rather get top coat overspray on the bed liner because you can't see it. And then we'll also bed liner this feller, and we should be in good shape. So that's what we're going to do. But we're ready for primer over all these bare sections. We'll kind of blend it into the paint area nice. And we're at a good air temp for doing this. I have everything in the garage tarped off that I care about, which is just the bike and the car. So yeah, we're in good shape. I'm going to clean up this fender and get all the paint mixed up, and we'll start spraying. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do some mixing, and some pouring, and then some more mixing. Okay, we're gonna try this for the 18th time here. Got a lot of paint gun issues. We're gonna roll through it. Just like that, that's really it. You know, a really small piece, so it's not a lot of painting, but I'm just going to take this primer, pour it back in the cup, and then we'll clean out the gun. We should be good to go. Okay, we are almost fully dry here. Then we'll go ahead and we'll wet sand. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go crazy on this, so I'll get the time lapse going, and we're just going to start sanding. So... we got her all painted. We got her all clear coated. We're going to take a look at it together here. We got a little bit of clear coat drip here. So I definitely went a little bit overkill. That's easy enough to file off with a razor blade though, so that's not a huge deal. The top really seems to be drying nice and orange peel free. So that's pretty awesome. The little speckles in there, I don't really know what that's all about. I've had this happen before, and they do, they sand out super easy. So like, it's not a big deal. I'm not really sure what that's all about. Okay, the first order of business is to take a razor blade and cut down these drips in the clear coat that I showed you earlier. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Kind of get this tipped a little bit more toward the light, and I'm just going to kind of sit there and grind those down. Let's get you a close-up of that. Alright, so that took about half an hour, 45 minutes maybe. We hit this with 1000 grit, just kind of a first pass. You can see we still need to sand some of this here. It's a little bit wet right there, but we do need to sand kind of this whole ridge here, some of this. However, a couple things. Number one, I need to do all this with 1500. So I'd actually rather take some of this down with the 1500 just so I can kind of start hitting it with the final grit before I polish, rather than kind of doing too much with the 1000 and getting the clear too thin. And a couple little spots here and there won't be a big deal. You know, they'll blend in nice when you buff it all out. But we'll get it as smooth as we reasonably can. You just got to balance smoothness with tearing down your clear coat, because you still want a good layer of clear on there. And if it's not perfectly dead flat, it, in some sense, it actually matches stock paint finishes better, because the stock finish on the bike itself, I mean, everything's covered in crap, but you know, isn't going to be perfect either. So it actually almost looks better sometimes if it's just, unless you go through and wet sand all your stock paint too, which you could. But anyway, so that's where we're at with this. We're going to keep going with it, and I'll link back up with you guys. Hey, we're not going to get any greedier than this. She is super smooth, a couple little spots here and there, but it's looking good enough. I don't want to risk it. We'll go ahead and buff it out. If there's any spots that are real noticeable, I can just touch them up later. But yeah, I mean, it's awesome. This is the front of the fender that you don't see, a little bit there, but again, there's really just no reason to go crazy on it. Can't even see that, but the back is super good. This is all covered by the tail light. That's covered by the license plate. So we really got a good sand out of this. And we'll polish it all out and do any little touch-ups, and we'll be good to go. Dang it. So that cloudiness I had noticed in the clear seems to really be sticking out now that I'm buffing. It almost looks like there's white paint overspray on it, which there isn't, but that's almost what it looks like. And I don't know really what I did wrong, because I followed the same process I always do. I used this paint and clear last year. It's a few years old, but I never had an issue with it before. I think my temps were pretty good. So I don't know what I want to do. All right, so we got to intermission this video for a minute because a lot of things happened in a short amount of time that I didn't record. Unfortunately, I think what it actually is solvent pop. The paint that I used is either bad or, I mean, I don't know. I didn't mix it. I didn't do anything different. Than I did in the past with it, so I don't know why it would be an issue now. It is a year older, however, I keep it in a climate-controlled environment. So anyway, regardless, yeah, the fender's just screwed. I re-cleared it, as you saw in that little time lapse, and it looks the same. I mean, actually, it was another good coat of clear. It's pretty level, but unfortunately, it looks the same. I'll show you in a second as it's drying. So that's not going to work. I think what I'm going to do is have my guy powder coat it because I'm over it and I'm done painting it. And I could have somebody paint it, but honestly, the powder, it's a little bit weaker, but you barely even see the fender between the saddlebags, the seat, and the sissy bar when it's on there and all this other stuff. It's like I just don't care. So I think I'm going to do that. It's cheap enough. It'll be a good enough finish, and it will definitely match. I have other stuff powder coated on the bike that looks good. So anyway, that's what I think I'm going to do. Folks, it's about 4 days later since we shot the last part of this video. I've got the fender at the powder coater. Talked to him about it all, and he was saying that it's most likely solvent pop. So anyway, that is what it is. We're going to do some other little things on the bike that we need to do anyway, and go from there. So stay tuned. First things first is installing this new battery cover. I already put the gasket on, or the thing, but this is actually plastic, and it's funny because I really didn't know that when I bought it, but I was gonna like maybe return it or just eat it and buy a metal one, but then I'm like, you know what? It's a little bit of weight reduction. It looks great. It's actually, I mean, I got fingerprints on it, but it's a really good surface finish. I'm like, let's try it out. Snapped it on. It is rock solid. Now I'm going to remove the grip tape I put on the crash bar because I kind of use this as highway pegs. Just to kind of clean this all up nice. Got the nice new grip tape on. It's not perfect, but as you saw from the fact that we had to replace it, it's kind of just disposable, to be honest. So it is what it is. It's good enough. And we'll continue on. If you have been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that this air cleaner cover, holy crap, that's tight. You would know that this air cleaner cover fell off the bike when I lost my bracket for the carburetor when it broke. The whole air filter and this cover went sliding across the pavement and it got all scratched up. So we're going to put a new used one on. As far as I can tell, they don't make these anymore. But anyway, you can see all the scratch marks. You could probably powder coat it maybe and save it, but I don't want it powder coated. I'll probably re-chrome it, but honestly, chroming stuff is a pain in the butt and expensive, so it's just not worth it. Not when you can go online and buy one for 30 bucks. This one's in really good shape overall, it just needs to be cleaned. So, good enough for me anyway. This might be a number 4 and not a number 3. Don't quote me on that. But number 3 gets the job done. Quick update. Went to take off the plastic battery cover and it disintegrated itself. This just ripped off. And anyway, this one came off too. So I'm returning it. I'm telling them, look, it's like defective. There's no possible way you can remove this without breaking it. In fairness, these clips are very tight as well, but still, it's ridiculous. So anyway, that's where we're at with that. All right, it has been multiple weeks since you've last seen this stuff. My girlfriend and I put the splash guard on and did a couple other things on the bike as like a little date night thing. I don't know how that went over. It seemed like it went over okay, but it's what we did, so it is what it is. Anyway, today we are going to put this fender on. So first things first is there is this rubber conduit that goes in the fender to hold the wires from falling into the tire. I have a piece of that. It's a little bit shorter, but it should work fine. So we're going to put that in the fender, kind of equidistant to where the tire is. And we'll put that in there, we'll run the wires, and then we'll start installing the fender. Just noticed I have all this sticker residue on here. This is from when I was in college. I had to put the parking pass somewhere on the bike. And I told them, I'm like, guys, I'm not going to stick it to my fender or my tank or something. And they're like, well, what do we want us to do? And I'm like, look, I'll put it on the back of the license plate mount. You're not going to really be able to see it, but I expect to not be getting parking tickets. Luckily, I was kind of the only one with a motorcycle in college, so I don't really think they just kind of knew I belonged there. But yeah, that was mildly annoying. So we're going to try to actually clean this off finally. Now, I haven't been in college for a very long time, so it's kind of embarrassing that this is me just now trying to get this stuff off, but alas, here we are, making things right. This is the part where we got to be a little bit careful that we don't scratch it. So in order to help facilitate not scratching it, we're going to just be careful. I don't know how else to help facilitate that. I don't have any magic solutions for it. So I'm actually going to drop it all the way down real quick onto the tire. And I'm going to go back up after, but now I'm going to get my bolts. Is that going to... I'm not in drive or gear. I guess the easiest thing to do would be to put that bolt in there. I'm going to see if I can hang it with this side plate for now. Just because that's what I grabbed. I don't have a lot of hands here. Dang it. Might have messed up here, guys. We're gonna make it work though, don't worry. Okay, that's on there. Just loosely put this bolt through. Okay, so that's kind of through the fender, so that's good. That'll hold that for me. Well, while I'm here, let me just put this one on. Probably not the best way to do this, but we'll make it work. Alright everyone, so as you saw in the time lapse, we got the fender back on. I just loosely put this cover on so you can see. Also loosely put the seat on. But the fender's looking awesome. Just, back to black, original stock. The bottom lip is looking great. Super happy with how this came out. The next steps are going to be giving this thing a good detail. I got a little bit of buffing to do, some stuff like that. Clean it all up. It's all dusty. We'll get it under a cover and she'll be ready for spring. I'll get the bags and stuff back on. But for the sake of this video, we don't need to see all that. You guys will see that next year or, as the season gets closer to riding season. So anyways, as always, thanks for watching. God bless America, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.